We never used to put the camera on, but now we always put the camera on because it's nice to see people.
Hi.
Of course.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. Guess
We've
what
already
happened?
started.
Guess what happened? I literally fell asleep. My husband woke me up and said, "Aren't you supposed to be? Aren't you supposed to be partying with knitters?" And yes, I was. Hi. How are you doing?
Good.
You're fine.
Hi, Maria. Nice to
Hi.
see you. What time is it where you are?
It's 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, great. So you don't understand how you can be falling asleep. No, because I was putting my son to bed and I just kind of faded away with him. I think we are expecting a bit more people, but in the UK right now, everyone's outside on their front doors, clapping for our national health system workers to honor their.
Is that happening every Thursday in England?
Or is it every night?
Because you did that last week, I think.
Yes, we did that last week and this week as well. So I'm not sure how often it's happening, but it seems like it will be every week. Liga, I can't see you, so I didn't.
Yeah, I have the same problem as before. It's black. I tried to leave the meeting and come back, but it's still the same. It happened to me once before, like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You even tried to turn me off and on, but it didn't help. On Tuesday, when I had a class with university, then it was working, but today it don't want to show me.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
So what are you working on?
Still your sweater.
Would be nice to see the pink.
Yeah, the latest one was the one I put on Instagram this morning. I'm on the cables on the down on the sweater.
So very close
row,
to the end.
Yes, row 18.
I don't remember how many rows there are supposed to be.
33.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just the sleeves left.
And Sweden is still no lockdown, nothing.
No. The borders are closed, but that's all.
Wow, and you still get on. You still have things that aren't canceled. Like events are still happening.
No, events are cancelled as well, like concerts, running races, and stuff like that. Now it's this week. No, it was from Sundays. They decided that we cannot be more than 50 people together. So in my running group, we met in even smaller groups than usual in different points, so that we are not 50 at the same place.
Wow, because I saw on Instagram that you had a picture with other people in it, and I was like, my gosh, this is so surreal.
Yeah, like in my group we were like 8 and the leader, but like all groups together we were 5 different groups, so we could meet like 2 groups and 3 groups, because then we were not too many. And as my friend said, we were running intervals together, and I said, so he changed the group yesterday to faster one. And then I said, so it didn't went so bad for you, so now you will continue come to our group. And then he said, yeah, it was fine. I said, I thought that you were right behind me. Yeah, I kept like 1.5 meters behind you, but in other conditions I would run next to you. That was his explanation. So it was not so bad.
And Ulla, what is on your needles today?
It's the same as last time. It's the cardigan, and there are small cables, and then there are these bubbles. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
Well, I only had this much last time 2 weeks ago, and I said to you that I'm a monogamous knitter. I'm not anymore. I think the virus has changed me, because I have 3 things on my needles at the moment. But I have just separated the sleeves. So this is just, it's easy to do this here. So that's why I chose this one.
Because last time you said you had to put it down and
Yeah, because there were these tiny cables, and you have to be. Now I'm dropping my stitches. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, because I had to concentrate on the cables. I'm not much of a cable knitter. I like them, but I don't do them so often, so I need to concentrate. But now I'm beyond that part, and now it's just plain stockinette. So I think I managed that while I listen and maybe talk.
Yeah, talking is good. And how about Maria? I'm so glad you could join us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. So I'm working on the test. I lose my place in the chart. So I'm just working on a piece that's now just stockinette that I'm working on. So it's a tank top that's knit sideways instead of like top down or bottom up. It's side to side starting in the middle. So it's different.
Nice. And how is the situation? I mean, I'm sure everyone's tired of talking about it, but it's just interesting. You are from America, right?
Yes. Yeah, so every area is a little bit different because it's so big. Where we are is not too bad. So hopefully that will keep everything from getting worse, but it's been kind of crazy.
Yeah. Are you having to stay at home and not go to work and just stay away from people?
Yeah, we have there's not any businesses open, and you're supposed to be fewer than groups of 10 everywhere. And hopefully things will reopen. They've closed all the schools for the rest of the year. So hopefully it gets better.
Yeah, we have the schools closed, the nurseries closed. Can't go out unless you have to buy some essentials.
Yeah.
So it's very surreal. But my sister moved in with us because she normally lives like 10 minutes from here. So we have a pretty full house, and we have board games going on every evening, and full on family meals. So it doesn't feel like, what's the word, like we're as isolated or lonely. We just feel like it's a big holiday, basically, fortunately. And I've got a project that I just started, and a sock, and another couple of things where I can work a few rows before I need to concentrate. So maybe I'll go through 4 projects in this one party to see. So yeah, usually I would have prepared some questions to ask everyone about knitting, but this time I thought we could try a little less kind of me dominating. Maybe we have our own questions that we'd like to ask everyone instead of using my questions. So I don't know if you have a question you'd like to ask your fellow knitters that's at the tip of your tongue, then please go ahead. If not, I've got one.
I would like to ask something. I put on my favorite sweater. I don't know if you recognize this. Yeah, it's the Zweig. Yeah, Boiler Knitworks. So I really love this. I've made two, but this blue yellow one is my absolute favorite. And I would like to ask you what garment or something you have made you consider your like favorite or best, or has given you most pleasure. What you're most happy with.
Ligo, why don't you start?
As usual. I have cardigan which I knitted 2 years ago maybe. I really like that one. As I like a lot of colors, it's not my colors at all because it's gray, but it goes like almost from white to really dark gray, and it was knitted on needles like 2 millimeters, so it was taking some time, but I saw it in a yarn store in Stockholm when I was living there, and I just fell in love with that one, and after some time I asked what is the pattern and which yarn I should buy. So it was because they had only 2 colors yarn, and yeah, that looked nice. And now when I'm always telling at work that I love colors and I hate white and gray and black, and then I'm wearing my gray cardigan, of course. So that is my favorite at the moment. I think the name of that one was Bianca or something like that, but I'm not sure if it was the name of the suggested yarn, maybe, because I just got a printed copy in the store. So I don't know much more than that.
It's great if you see someone wearing something or in a yarn store or somewhere, and then you know how it looks like and not just see a picture. So it's always great to see a finished object. Yeah,
I was looking at that one every time I went into the store until I decided to ask. And then there are like different people working there, and it was not the one I were usually talking to. And then I asked that other woman who worked that day, and her answer was, when I asked what yarn is it, or oh, it's expensive, but if I like it I still want to buy it. So I didn't got the pattern that time, but I came back another time and the owner of the store was working.
Wow, I'm sorry, you don't look like you can afford this one.
Yeah, I don't know why she was saying that.
Gosh.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, but don't you want to sell?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
How about Maria? Maria? Sorry, I'm pronouncing your name wrong.
Oh, that's okay. I had for a long time, everything I made did not fit me properly, so I got very discouraged, but I have enjoyed making sweaters for my little boy because they look cute on little kids always, and they don't have quite as many points where things aren't going to fit properly. So I've made several, not a whole lot of stuff for myself that I like, but a lot for him that I like.
Does he get to wear knitwear a lot? Because it sounds like you're from somewhere warmer.
Yeah, we have enough cool time in the winter. Season. But he does get to wear it. I guess the downside is he grows out of it fast. But
keep knitting.
keep making new ones. But yeah, that's probably my favorite thing to make.
Yeah. And my favorite was so far. I mean, I'm probably gonna be shocking, but I don't usually wear knitwear because I get really hot. I think it's because I'm not living in Latvia anymore. So it's just hanging there. I enjoy making it, and then I just put it away. It's done, and I'm on to the next project. But there was one that I made last year that was completely white with a high collar and lots of different stitches, and like about 20 different stitches. And I was just enjoyed making it so much because it was the biggest mathematical puzzle. And then also I enjoy wearing it because it's so unique. Like it doesn't look like anything else out there. So when it was colder, I was really whenever I went out, I would put that on as my statement piece. And my husband said that I look like someone who knows how to knit when I wear it. So yeah, that's my favorite thing. But I have also gotten a little bit tired of it because it is just, yeah, when you get too much of chocolate, it's too much, you know. So I need to make something new. But yeah.
I have to say that I wear knits all the time. Sorry that I'm interrupting.
No,
I wear my knits all the time. I wear something I've knit every day, at least like a shawl or a scarf.
Mm-hmm.
But I've made like quite many sweaters and cardigans, and I wear most of them like all the time. But then of course there are these not so not so well made things, and sometimes when you finish, like for example a cardigan, and then you realize that the yarn is that the piece is getting bigger and bigger all the time. Maybe the needle size was not good, and when you wear it, it stretches and reaches the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So those I think we all have, or at least I have. So I should maybe rip them and try something else. But I'm happy that I have quite many of this kind of sweaters nowadays that really like fit me, and I can wear them and they are nice. And we have cold in Finland, so
Yeah.
I can wear knits even in the summer almost.
Yeah, I think I missed that. I missed that cooler weather. In Latvia too, it could get like -30 in winters, and you could really benefit from knitwear. But here in the UK, it's always like when it's 0, it's considered to be extreme weather, you know, cold. So it's always above 0, and I'm just always on the move. And yeah. But nevertheless, I think knitting something and wearing it is still two different things. I don't just like knitting with one wool, liking knitting with a particular type of yarn is different than liking to wear some yarn. Like I don't necessarily mind wearing cotton, but knitting with cotton I don't enjoy so much. I think I wouldn't mind wearing linen, but knitting with linen is something that I should really force myself to get used to. And maybe I should, because it's not so hot as wool. Let's see. Yeah. And what do you like about this Zweig sweater, especially?
Well, the lace, I think it's really pretty.
Mm.
I like the yarn, the blue yarn. We visited Ireland last year, like this time of the year, spring. And I wanted to buy a souvenir, and this is what I bought, of course, yarn.
Of course.
And then a friend gave me this. This is like a silky blend yarn, and I wanted to make something special out of it. And then I realized that these would go together. Maybe they look a bit Swedish, do they?
They suit you very well.
Yeah, and yeah, but I like, and this is a little bit short and not too wide.
Mm.
I don't know if you can see, but it's a bit cropped, but not too cropped.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the fashion might change, and we will only care about what we look like until here. And then below is gonna be no one cares because you don't get to show it off anymore.
Yeah. And let's not stand up here either, because you might be wearing pajamas because it's evening here.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just thinking how the clothes shopping sales online will change. Everyone's gonna buy new tops, but the trousers and skirts,
Yes,
who needs that? Just
exactly.
yoga pants.
Right.
So do you any of you have more other questions?
I was thinking about one question last week, which I didn't ask. Do you give like to yourself that you are, how to say, like that it's forbidden to buy more yarn, at least for some time or something like that?
Yeah.
Because I have heard here in Sweden that some people are doing that because they have so much yarn.
Yeah.
And then they say, no, I'm not allowed to buy yarn for a few months or half of the year or something like that, and until they break it.
Like a yarn rehab.
Yeah. Because sometimes there comes something, so they just can't stand.
Yeah. Ooh, good question. I'm not at the stage. Well, you can see there's still space in my shelves that I can stuff some more yarn, so I'm not so harsh on myself. If I see something that I like, I will get it. But I think there will be a time when I realize that there's no way I can knit all of this throughout my lifetime. So maybe I should start controlling my shopping sprees and habits. But I haven't gotten to that point yet.
But from the other side, one other friend said, we can buy yarn to save for the time when we retire and can knit like all day long, every day for many years. So, and we maybe don't have so much money then, but we still have a lot of yarn. So that is her
Excuse.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really grateful that I didn't control my yarn buying at the latest festival, because I mean, right now I can't go anywhere, and I'm grateful that I've got a good reserve. So yeah, this is only what's the word? Removing all my guilt of having a lot of yarn was removed the moment they announced the lockdown. It's just like, I've been preparing for this.
The problem is only if you decided I want to knit this and no of my yarns fit for that project.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
it will be a problem.
I mean, I don't know. I am saying yarn is like, for us, is like, you know, shoes or bags for other women, at least for me. It's the little pleasure that you get from new yarn. That's okay if it never gets knitted. Someone, you might gift it to someone, could be a good present for another knitter friend, or, and then there's this other side of, especially if you buy from independent yarn dyers, that you're supporting their business, and so it's okay. It's okay. It's just money. You can't buy happiness, but you can buy yarn.
Of course.
It comes close. Anyway, I'm rambling. How about you?
I'm not forbidding anything to myself, but my husband is doing that. That's the problem.
Ah, well, does he have any hobbies?
Yes, something called disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like similar to frisbee or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So he has some special kind of backpack for that, which is full.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, now you have no more space for new discs, so it's enough to buy more. But of course, he says that he don't have to bring all of them every time he goes to play. So, yeah. Now we both have some kind of hobby where we want to buy things. But from other side, it was this autumn, no, or it was in the spring. They closed a yarn store in the city next to us, and then it was sell after sell. They gave more and more discount, and I think he just suggested to me to go there when it was like really, really extremely cheap, and we bought like a lot of yarn. I think I counted it to 70 or 72 balls of yarn. So it was like, yeah, but don't you want to take anything else? Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so cheap, so you don't have to buy later. But yeah, but now I have no idea what to buy, how much to buy. It was really difficult.
Yeah.
But that was completely okay, and he even followed to the store.
Mm-hmm.
So it happens sometimes.
Yeah, I think my husband knows not to interfere between me and my yarn, because he has a problem with kitchen gadgets. He will just see something and he will want to buy it. Like, I am face palming so much. We have a deli slicer, we have a sous vide machine, and we don't even cook meat. We have a vacuum sealer. We have a slow cooker, a pressure cooker, an air fryer, and I mean, yeah, I'm losing count, and there's just nowhere to put it. And it's me who has to clean the dust of everything. So yeah, whenever I have a new yarn package arrive or something, he knows he can't say anything, because I will bring up the kitchen gadget hobby.
Yeah, it's good to have something different, or if the other one has more expensive hobby. As another knitting friend said, that her husband loves bicycles, and that is much more expensive. And he has, of course, more than one, and then there are many details he wants to change or to buy something new. It depends how much you are into cycling. I have heard that people can be crazy.
Yeah, I think any hobby will have something that you can get carried away with the gear associated.
Yeah.
I'll just repeat the question for Lena, who just joined. Liga is asking a question: if you put any restraint on yourself when it comes to buying yarn, or do you limit yourself of how much you can buy or not.
Or if you're not allowed to buy at all for some time.
Yeah, or you don't let yourself to buy at all. And Ulla or Maria, you haven't said much about this yet.
Well, I try to limit myself, not all the time, but I do try. I would like to be in a position where when I see some project that I want to make, then I wouldn't have so much yarn here that I could just go and buy yarn for that project, and then it would be perfect. Because now when I have this stash here, the first thing I do is that I go through the stash and try to find yarn that would suit to this specific project. And sometimes I find the yarn, but not always. And then I consider if I really want to make it or not. And there's always like, I would like to use the yarn that I sometimes have bought, because I thought when I'm buying yarn, I think that this is great and I love this, and then it's in the box. So somehow I would like to have less yarn at home, and then when I want, I could like really go and buy it. But I'm not like, if I want to make something and I don't have the yarn, then I just go and buy it. So I'm looking this way because that's where my yarn is. So we moved half a year ago to a smaller apartment because we have 3 kids and they are grown up, and we were thinking that we don't need such a big house, so we moved to a smaller apartment. And I went through all my yarn and noticed that I had at that point about 8 kilos. Like, I don't know how many meters, but it's 2 boxes. And I think it's quite a lot.
That gives me an idea. I should weigh all my yarn, because I couldn't tell you how much I have. I honestly don't know.
Maybe today I have like 7 kilos or something, because I have knit. But I have also bought some yarn.
That is around 80 100 gram skeins, right?
Yeah.
It's about 80 of these.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's quite a lot.
Yeah. I might have the same. I really don't know. No idea. I'll have to count after this, just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
And Austra just joined as well. Hello.
Hi.
The question is from Liga about whether you limit yourself to how much yarn you can buy in a given period, or do you have periods where you don't allow yourself to buy any yarn at all?
Well, I wouldn't say I have some specific periods. I always try to buy less yarn, like always, and it almost never works. Because well, when all this madness started, I was thinking, okay, I have enough yarn, I'm fine. And then I was thinking, yeah, but if I want to make this project, I don't have anything for it. I should buy some yarn. Well, I don't know what's gonna happen with post offices and everything, so I should buy more yarn, and I did. But yeah, I'm also weighed my yarn, and I am total yarn nerd because I have an Excel spreadsheet where I have everything written down.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Me too. Me too.
Super cool. Super cool. And when I finish something, I update it, and then I have joined. I'm following threads, Stash Buster, Stash Dive challenge, and something like that. And this motivates me to see if I can at least, what do I say? Get out of my stash more than into my stash.
But didn't you just post on Instagram that you've just like received
Yeah.
your yarn? Yeah.
Yes, I did. And it's super cool because it's April and it didn't mess up with my March schedule.
Okay. So you have strong controls. You're on top of your yarn. Okay.
No, I believe it's not strong controls because, well, I think we all know that I have enough yarn, but for this specific project, I need something totally different from what I have already.
Yeah.
Either is color or thickness or fiber or whatever. There are always some reasons. And yeah, so I am kind of in control, but really not. And I have donated some yarn to zaneteknits and to my old school. It doesn't feel like it's less yarn after all that.
I wonder.
And funny, last summer I found a box of yarn at my mom's house. I had totally, completely forgotten about it, but it's still there. So I probably someday I will see what's there. I believe there's something good.
All yarn is good, almost. I wonder if it's easier to buy new yarn if you don't really know what's in your stash and it's away from your eyes, or if you know exactly how much you've got. I mean, I'm afraid that if I started really registering my stash properly in a spreadsheet, that I would be really scared to buy more. And I'm
Nope.
not ready for that fear.
I'm not scared. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But
Just
yeah.
don't have the feeling of guilt, and you can still buy something.
Right. And well, with the spreadsheet, I have the opportunity when I think of something that I can make, I can just look at it and I don't have to go through all my boxes and everything. I just look and I know by name what is it exactly.
I think my shelf look is a bit like a spreadsheet. It has cells.
Yeah, so I have plastic boxes, and so I have divided in categories, but still, spreadsheet is covering everything.
And Maria?
Yeah, I was supposed to be on this year I was trying to go down in my stash and not buy more. But then when all of this happened, a lot of all the fiber shows got canceled and people were posting like, oh, can you still support different independent dyers and stuff? And I ended up buying a whole bunch more. So I did not succeed in my attempt to reduce my stash any. But that was the idea a while ago.
Yeah, basically 2020 is cancelled as a whole, and we should assume that all our resolutions are basically cancelled as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably postponed.
Yeah.
What a year. How about you, Ian?
Well,
Yarn control.
that's how I started my last year, 2019, with the kind of like, oh, I'm not buying anything anymore, and I was quite good actually, and I didn't buy much. I only bought really like when I needed something, and when I had like, let's say, some specific order, something to knit, and I didn't have enough of this and this color or this and this type of yarn. So So yeah, I kind of like learned to control myself, because before I was just buying just because I like it, not that I really need it, you know. And I was, yeah, like just buying or bought it because it was like such good offer or whatever reason, just to buy it. Or I didn't have this type of yarn, so I want to try it. And but then last year, yeah, I started my year with the resolution to try to get rid of the most of the stuff I have, which didn't work because I only have two hands. But
You should learn to knit with your feet.
yeah, really, should try. But yeah, no, I'm kind of like good at controlling myself. I'm not doing anymore. No, like this, just buying because I like it, buying because I want to buy it. It's just, yeah, it's a bit different now. I buy it because I really need it, but then at the same time, like, let's say if I buy from a website and they offer you free delivery if you spend, let's say, £25,
Yeah.
then I do this really because I kind of like, I don't want to spend money on delivery, because
Yeah.
for the same money I can get at least ball of wool. So I'm going like, let's say my order would be £15 for something that I really need, but I'll still look for something for another £10 just to cover that £25 so I get free delivery. So
think
that's where I get my like, oh, I really didn't need this, but I rather spend those £3, which would be for delivery. I get a ball of wool for it. But then I try to choose some colors and stuff that I think I might need it for later, not that something just because I like it. So yeah, I'm trying, but I'm not. I don't have no like, let's say, I'm not banned from buying. Like my partner, he doesn't say anything about me buying wool. He only moans if it's everywhere, like around the house, like it is right now, because now I'm in the house, I'm trapped. I'm just knitting where I am, in a kitchen, in a living room, in a bedroom. It's everywhere. And then he's like, oh, why is it everywhere? Why can't you keep it in one place? But we don't really like say anything to each other, as you were talking about, like everybody has their own thing. So his thing is computers, so he buys stuff for computers, changes the computer monitors. He has like so many monitors for one computer, and I'm keeping quiet. I'm not saying anything, you know. It doesn't bother me, you know. He likes it, he wants it, he buys it. The same for me with wool. He doesn't say anything as long as I knit something for him as well. So not too bad.
My husband and I both decided this year that we're gonna start growing our own vegetables for the first time ever. So we've been like watching a lot of YouTube on how to start tomatoes from seeds and things like that. And I think getting into that other kind of hobby that's not yarn related has kept me from going crazy and buying more yarn, because it's a completely new thing for me and there's a lot to learn. But there was one video where one of the guys said, he said, yeah, you're gonna go into a shop, you're gonna see seeds and you're gonna want them, because whenever you see seeds you want them. And he started laughing so much and he said, that's like you and yarn. It's exactly like me and yarn. Yeah, but basically because I can't go much anywhere, and then it's not really a problem to buy. But when Leon and I, we went to the Unravel festival together, and I couldn't stop myself, but Leon just bought like one
I bought one thing, yeah.
one thing, and I was like, I was full like this.
And because I need it, you know, I'm going to use it in, I don't know, tomorrow or day after, whenever I'll finish what I'm doing. So I'm going to use it. So it was really something I needed. So I'm not feeling guilty for buying it, because I might use it one day. So that day has come quite quick. So, but the purchase you made, you've been using quite a lot of that, like, and like straight
Yeah,
away
I'm
as
actually
well.
working.
So you
This-
can't really say like, oh, you bought it and it sits on a shelf. And
Actually, both of these projects are that I'm currently working on are from Unravel Festival yarn. But then, yeah, I do have some from Black Friday 2 years ago that I just saw a great bargain, and I I don't know why I bought it. I haven't used it.
yeah, I have some Black Friday good bargains from also about 2 years ago, and but they'll come handy one day, you know. When you get a bargain, sometimes you just have to buy it. You just, because you never know if the day comes again, especially like now. I don't think many people will do bargains, like bargain sales now, because now it's different times, and I'm actually quite happy that I have bought something only because it was a good deal, because now I don't have no like chance to go to buy yarn anywhere because everything is closed.
Mm.
Of course I can order it, but I don't know like what I want, but then I can go through my stash and always find something, you know. Oh, I forgot about this one, you know. Actually, this will be the one I'm using today. And
Yeah, the stash surprise.
yeah, you know, it is like, let's go through my boxes. And well, actually,
It's like
that's what I
going
did.
through your boxes and looking at old photos. It's the same. Oh, this
Yeah,
ball. I have a
yeah,
memory of
yeah,
how I decided to buy it.
yeah. I went through my boxes yesterday, and I was like, "Ooh, I have this and this color actually. Oh wow, I forgot about it." Like, yeah,
I'm not poking the bear because I think I'll have idea overload. Since the last time I created the knit bingo, and it's such a weight off my shoulders because all the projects that I want to do are in like a nice square spreadsheet, and it's like it's there. It's a little bit set in stone, and I don't have to worry about it, and that part of my brain isn't being moved. But I think if I started going through my yarn, I'd start to question my choices, and then a lot of analytical power will be used, and yeah, I'm not ready for that yet, so I'm not looking at it.
Do you,
Anyway.
sorry, do you recognize the feeling when you go to a yarn fest with a friend and you do a lot of purchases and the friend doesn't buy much? You start like showing like, how about this? How about this? Because you need to get your friend to buy yarn to justify your own purchases.
Yeah, no, I don't think I did that because
no, you
like,
didn't. No.
no, I didn't, because I knew that until I had made the first purchase, I was also really cautious, you know. But then with the first one, the floodgate kind of opens, as we said before, and then you just don't care. And yeah, I think maybe part of me is also I don't want to. I don't want anyone else to feel guilty about buying more yarn. It's enough that I am already buying more yarn. So, yeah, no, I wasn't doing that.
Maybe I was.
No, but I did say to Leon and I wanted to buy some new pins because I don't know, just for fun, just to be interesting pins, and we did both. We did both participate in looking for pins, but we didn't find any that
No,
that I
probably the
liked.
best ones were sold already while you were busy looking for yarn. So we should start with pins.
Oh well, there. I was gonna say there'll always be next time, but
Yes.
there might not be next time. um. Anyhow, I know Austra has a question because you said on Instagram that you
Yes,
have.
I do. my question is, we have all praised our favorite needles and stuff, but my question is, what is your worst experience with knitting needles?
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Where are they actually? Maybe I can start answering this. I have ones that are where they're bamboo, I think, and then this cable gets very denty, and it like causes, I don't know how to call. Yeah, it's really annoying because I can't do magic loop easily. And so any cables that aren't these red ones, I have developed like an allergy already because I know they're gonna bend somewhere and get chipped, and that is just not worth. That's not knitting anymore. That is just torture. But I don't know any specific brands. Yeah, I don't know specific brands that are bad. Just generally, unless there are these red Chiago twist ones, I will not enjoy. My answer is really short, sorry.
I remember my mother and me too, when I was young, I used to use the long straight needles, not double pointed, but you know where there's the ball in the other end, and the
Single pointed, yeah.
yeah. And they made my shoulders ache when you have to, you know, hold them up somehow. The knit that is there, the wool, it's heavy.
Yeah.
So I don't like those, and I don't have them anymore, but I remember the feeling,
Yeah.
how it was. So, sorry. I have my cat here and I'm trying to protect my, he was jumping here, sorry. Trying to protect my knit. So I don't like that. And of course, and then I had some cables, old cables that were really like, how do you say it, stiff, or like not bendy like these are. So those I have gifted away, I don't know, or put in the trash.
Yeah.
Because the cable is really important, that the cable is like, it bends and it's attached to the needle properly, and there's no like
nothing to catch up.
nothing. Yeah,
yeah.
right.
That is super important.
I'm gonna show you my cat because look what he's wearing.
Oh no, what happened?
He got operated, and he hates this, so you can imagine. He got operated, he had a lump in his tail, and we don't know what that is, but it's operated now, and he shouldn't lick it, of course, because there are the stitches and the wound is there, so he has to wear this collar. I was thinking if I would crochet one for him, would it be okay, but maybe not.
Oh, how long does he have to wear it for?
10 days, and it was Tuesday, 2 days ago, so it's still a week. But I think he can manage that.
He will get used to it. What about other worse needles?
Well, I work in a shop, and we sell also needles, but they are cheapest needles I've ever seen. And every time somebody buys them, I'm just feeling sorry for them, because I I started knitting with those needles about 3 years ago because I didn't know any others, and I had needles there, and I just bought them. Oh, let me try, let me start to knit. And plastic ones are, I don't know who ever even thought about making plastic needles, because this is the hardest knitting ever, because the wool doesn't slide on them very well, and it's just so much work to do, so much like push the stitches and everything. So, and then when I discovered my Knit Pro needles, I'm like, every time somebody buys them, I want to scream, I want to say, no, please don't buy them. And then if I get to have a conversation with my customers, then I'm like, I'm kind of trying to advertise Knit Pro, but I know like there's loads of like people coming, like older ladies, and I know they wouldn't want to spend so much money on needles and stuff, but yeah, I always tell them they're not the cheapest needles in the world, but they just change so much, like for your knitting, the quality, lovely. So yeah, I would never go back to those cheap needles. But then even I like Knit Pro a lot. I have sometimes they come and they are slightly faulty, like I had to change now. Luckily I have loads of needles, but like for my socks, and I just had to change one of these needles. It's faulty. It catches yarn because it's not smooth. It's like slightly chipped. So, and that sometimes annoys me. Luckily, they come with a 3-year guarantee, so I can always go back to the seller and say, "Hey, see, this one is faulty," and sellers usually they are okay to change them, and it's not a problem. But like, if that happens like ever so often, then it's like, oh, really? I have to go and say again, like, oh, this thing it's faulty. Then that part is like, it's not nice. But yeah, but because you pay money for them, so you're allowed to do that. But still, even with these little faulty few times, I still love them. I still wouldn't change for any others. So not complaining much, just a bit.
Maria, have you got any needle horror stories?
Yeah, not about a particular brand, but I had interchangeable interchangeable cable needles, and had not tightened it tight enough, and I realized it when all of my stitches were off the other end because the needle came unattached. So that was not the brand's fault. That was clearly my fault. But yeah, most of the times that I have needle problems, it usually can be traced back to something I did. So I'm not very graceful about a lot of stuff.
What brand are you using mostly?
I don't even know what these are. They are, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. They're some kind of like nickel plated, interchangeable, but they're good, and they have nice smooth joins and everything. But if you don't tighten the needle, it does not work properly. That's pretty key.
That is true. Who else has a question about?
I have 2 horror stories.
But
sorry.
Liga hasn't answered as well.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought she did, but it was you.
Who's first?
First time I got to be the last one. I guess my worst story is about like bamboo needles or tree or something like that. I bought them so that I can take them on the flight and take the knitting with me. And it was working on the flight, but when we arrived to another country, we were taking a bus, and my husband bought some water or lemonade to drink, like 1.5 liter bottle. And I put my knitting away in the plastic bag, and then he put the lemonade there. And when I pick my knitting up sometime later, so the needle broke, or one of them. So that's why I'm really scared, because I have bought more of bamboo needles so that I can take them with me if I travel. And then I'm always scared to put them somewhere, even if it's in a backpack, so that they wouldn't break anymore.
Oh, you mean that the weight of the bottle was enough to break the needle?
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
I guess it was
Yeah, it's quite heavy.
some space in between, and then if you put it on, so it just broke. And that time I didn't had any other needles with me. I guess we were traveling just with hand luggage, so it was no chance to take something else if something would happen. And then we were looking for yarn stores to buy other needles, and then they had only metallic needles. And then I was thinking, if I buy them, how will I take them home? So that was not a good trip that time.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I am sharing. My first worst experience with needles was something similar to Maria's experience, but those weren't interchangeable needles. Those were just, I don't know, some Soviet type of needles or what. They had aluminum tips and just a tube on it, and
I
it was
remember those
easily,
like
so easily to pull
tube.
apart. It
Yeah.
was crazy when it got caught on some stitch. It just went off with, like, I don't know, whatever stitches were on it. And I had so many times picked everything up. Probably, well, yeah, that's most likely some sort of learning curve also of picking up stitches and not throwing it out and everything.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, sure. And the other story didn't kill me too. It was like, I believe 8 years ago or so. I had bought some. I was getting back to my knitting because some time ago I was not knitting, and then I started again and then dropped it again. And I bought some sock needles because I didn't have the size I needed, and I found, oh, those are really cheap and looks quite alright. Metal ones, and yeah, some sort of Russian manufacturer, but who cares? So I bought them, and they were really sharp, and everything went cool, and everything was great until one day, somehow I almost dropped it, and I tried to catch it with my hand. I was trying to protect my leg from the needle, and that's when I stabbed the needle in my hand instead.
Oh.
Yeah, it was about here, but there were no blood and no nerves were tortured. I was just looking surprised, why doesn't it hurt? But yeah, I took it out and everything was so good. But yeah, I haven't used them since. That was the last day with those needles.
Wow.
So yeah, should probably be Halloween story.
I am knitting with the sharpest ones. I think I could probably, yeah, these could be stabbing ones if I really needed to. If things get really bad, I've got needles.
Yeah, I just thought after that, why would I even catch it? It would like fall down. It was metal needles. What would have happened with them?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's time for me to pull out my ball. Typically, I don't need a yarn ball, but when these cakes get too small, then unstable, then that's it. Questions? More questions? Liana or Maria, do you have some things that you'd like to ask?
Sorry, I haven't done my homework.
I didn't make it homework. I just sort of announced it out of the blue for everyone last minute.
I have been thinking about one more thing. Like if you buy a yarn, specifically like if it's impulsive yarn buying, do you always know for what project it will be, or can you just buy it without knowing what you are going to knit?
Very nice question. I think when I order online, it's usually for something specific, and then it arrives, and then the 2 things or 3 things can happen. I'm swatched with it, and it's not at all what I expected. So my appetite is gone, and I just put it in the shelf. So like a lot of them are sitting here like that. Other thing happened, I just put them aside and I wait to finish other projects first, and then I no longer want to do the project that I bought it for because other projects have happened. And the third thing is I actually go ahead and do it for the project. So that's when I buy online, when I like scroll and look for something specific. Yeah, I have a project in mind, but then that doesn't always work out. And then the other thing is when I go to festivals, then no, I have absolutely no idea most of the time what I will make. It's just like I'm being polite and I have to buy something because I know the person or I really like the color, or yeah, I don't know. I have some idea of what kind of garment it could be to get the right quantity, but exactly what it will be, I don't know. But that's okay. That's okay, right?
Of course, I feel like pretty the same. I don't buy so much online, but it's pretty seldom. But if I go to the store, then I usually know what I need or for which project I need to find the yarn. But if it's a festival, then it's a big problem, and usually you buy most of the yarn there.
Mm.
Sometimes I can even like take my phone, start to search for projects on Ravelry, what should fit for this yarn, like so that I know how much to buy, so I don't buy too less, because that's the worst if it's not enough. If it gets over, then it's fine. But even that can be difficult because sometimes there is some strange amount of yarn left which you don't know where to use anymore.
Look at my top glass bowl is full of leftovers. It's got like this little bits left. Like I'm gonna make some I don't know, leftover blanket or something.
Yeah, that can be something.
Yeah, anyway, other people should speak more.
Yeah.
At the festival, I think the biggest, I'm not saying problem, but you know, for me is that I buy single skeins, one this and one that, and they don't necessarily go together at all, but they're also pretty and lovely and feel good and everything. And when you said, I've been thinking it here, that when I said that I have 8 kilos yarn, and you said, do you have 80 100-gram skeins? And I was like, that sounds terrible. I can't possibly have 80. But I mustn't I? Anyway, so that's the thing, because when you go to a yarn store, you know what you're buying and then you buy that. But the festivals are the worst.
Yeah.
And the greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually there is the nicest yarn, like most beautiful things you see ever.
Yeah, but I'm also, as long as you keep to the same kind of color palette, then you might find that things just happen to go together. Like I have this that I have actually made in my knit bingo. I will use these three together that I bought completely separately. I think in the camera it looks too crazy, but in it's one completely independent from each other. This one and this one and this one, and they go together so nicely. It was a complete accident. I bought each one independently at different occasions. And I think that it's, if you have like a palette that you stick to, then you might be okay.
Yeah, but if you don't have a palette, you
but the
just
most
love this color and all the colors and
yeah. Yeah, the most dangerous are the skeins that have many colors in them.
yes.
The ones that look really pretty in the skein, but then when you start knitting, you just don't knit anything else but stockinette. Those are the hardest.
I have the same problem with buying single skeins that then they don't go with anything. And I don't know why I keep doing it, but I have a whole box of things that I'm like, what I need to do is look for things that go with this. But when I get somewhere and I'm looking, that all goes out of my head.
Yeah, it seems like there should be a whole pattern category saying deal with my single skein problem pattern.
We have a Swedish podcast here where three girls are talking about knitting, and once they had a chapter where they found a lot of projects for single skeins and put out the links for inspiration, where you can use all your single skeins where you don't need any more yarn. So that is also a way.
What kind of accessories, I suppose, they are? Like you can make a shawl, a cowl, a hat, some gloves, some socks.
Yeah, it's probably smaller things. I didn't check the links because that podcast is not like yours with the video. It's only listening.
Okay.
So you cannot see what they are doing or showing, but they always give the links to all the projects they are talking about.
It is an actual podcast. My husband always goes mental when I say, I should record my podcast. He's like, it is not a podcast. A podcast originated in Apple when they had the iPod and you needed some broadcast for the iPod. And it was just audio. Why you keep calling it a podcast? And I'm like,
what should you call it then?
I hear you, but it's just happened.
That's why you switched to diary.
Well, I was trying to be
diary from beginning.
Yeah, I was trying to keep the peace at home, but it just like sometimes slips out, and I say podcast because everyone else in the knitting world calls it a podcast.
Yeah, but what should it call it? What should it be called? What's the
don't
name
know.
for it?
Vlog?
I don't like that word. It sounds
No, it sounds really
weird. Doesn't no, I'm too old for vlog.
Yeah. Anyhow, we were talking about yarn. Yarn. What were we talking about?
Buying yarn and knowing the projects or not.
Yeah. Did everyone get a chance to say?
I think Lena didn't said anything yet.
I don't have much to say really. If I buy something online, then I usually, well, as I said, there is amount of wool. I know what I need it for. I buy it, and then the rest might be like impulsive buy, or just because I need to get to that point when I get free delivery. And then for that, I kind of might have idea, because I might take the same type of wool, just different colors or a bit more than what I need. But then if I let's say travel, I also like to go to, like, wherever I am, I like to find some wool shops. Then I'll just go in, I'll just have a look, and I'll just buy something what I like without thinking like what I'll make out of it. And like yarn festivals as well, I haven't been to many. I've been only to 2 in my like knitting life, but I haven't bought much. And also what I have bought, it's been without any like specific idea, like, oh, okay, I'm buying this for this and this project. It's just I bought it because it was a bargain, or I bought it because I thought, oh, it will come handy. So I don't really put projects and the wool together straight away. That comes after.
I think I'm developing a new habit, because I just sent Lian a package. I colored some wool and I didn't know what I would do with it. So I said, Liana, would you make some socks out of it? And she said yes. And so I sent it to her. I think it might not be the last time.
We had the thing in the now I don't know the name. I need to translate, I think. Sorry. Yeah, in the knitting camp, we had a thing that everybody needed to take like a ball of yarn or a skein or something. It could be also more, which you don't like anymore or don't need anymore. And then we made like a lottery. So
like a...
Yeah, so it was like some kind of exchange.
A swap.
Yeah. It was not really like a lottery, but we got some papers with the numbers, and then you could come to the table and pick what you liked. So the first person got more to choose from. And so it was something like that. But another years they did it different way, I think, what they were telling. But it's also a way to get something new and get rid of something you don't need.
Yeah, we should make a virtual yarn swap.
What, do we swap pictures of our yarn?
No, you come with pictures, and then we can figure out who wants which yarn, and then organize the sending.
I'm just sorry. I'm just trying to think now. I don't know if it was Janet with you. I remember the story kind of like somebody said, or I have seen it I don't know, somewhere on Instagram or Facebook, I don't know. But basically the girls, they what they're doing, they kind of, they knit in the presents for each other.
Yeah, I know. Christine was telling us about that you all come with the yarn that you don't know what to do with it, and you give to your knitting friend, and the knitting friend needs to make you a present from it. And the knitting friend decides what to do with the yarn.
Yeah, I thought that was really like, that was really good idea. Like,
yeah,
because sometimes you buy something and you kind of like think, oh, I like it, but then after a while you kind of like, oh, why did I buy this? Like, who would knit with something like this, you know? But then somebody else might come up with something, you know, some brilliant
Yeah.
stuff, and that's what I would like to try that with somebody. Like, I think that's cool. I think they were doing it
Very
like
different.
around Christmas or something, like
Yeah.
Christmas presents, yeah, for each
So
other.
I would come with like, you know how much I love this this yarn. It's like, here, make me something that I might like. I have just thought of another question. What has it ever happened to you? And if it has, what do you do? You happily knit a project and you are almost at the end, or like you're 75% in, and you realize you won't have enough yarn. What do you do?
Oh, that had happened at least 3 times to me. And of course you realize it when it's too late. First time I was knitting a cardigan, and I had the second sleeve left, and it was just a piece like next to the shoulder. I was knitting like from down to the top, and yeah, I had this part like, I don't know, 10-15 centimeters from my shoulder left, and I ran out of yarn. I went back to the store. At that time, it was one of my first projects also, and they didn't have this yarn left at the moment, so they ordered more. And of course, the color was a bit different when it arrived. It was not the same. What it's called, I don't know.
Dialogue.
Yeah, probably. And also, while I was waiting, I found the same yarn on the internet. Also bought one ball or two, and it was also not the same. But at that time, I had no idea they can be different.
Yeah.
Even if it's the same color. And when I received from the store, it was another, like, more different than from the internet. And then it was like, how am I gonna finish this cardigan? I was knitting it like for a year because I was working and studying, and I was knitting like 2 rows each night, so it took really long time. And then I couldn't do it ready. But finally, in some group on Facebook, I found information about some page, so I was checking different stores on internet or local stores who could send the yarn. At one place I found they had 2 balls left, exactly the same color I needed. I needed only 1 ball, I think, but I bought both of them anyway, just to be sure. And they said it was 2 last balls they also had, so I was thinking, no, I need to get them both. So now, of course, it's left. But yeah, that felt like I will never gonna make it. And in some other stores, they said, oh, that might be impossible to find.
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely impossible. You were really lucky.
Yeah. And one other time, I also bought a yarn that which is not so common, or I haven't seen that one in other stores or on festivals. And it was also not enough for like half sleeve almost for a sweater. And I found finally on eBay, I think I got it from Germany or somewhere, and it looked like it will be the same, but now I see that it's a little bit different. But yeah, this time I don't care because I had no other choice.
But you always you basically just hunt online until you get something.
That time, yes, because I couldn't go back to the store because there was a woman who got sick or something. So she was selling everything out and closed the store. so it was no chance to go back there. It was only to find somewhere if somebody is selling that. So eBay was the only chance that time.
Anyone else? Any modifications to, like, you could make a cold shoulder or a different color, God forbid.
Okay, you go first.
I have some experience in in again weighing my yarn, and I know that this amount should be enough. And then I ended up with like 2 or 3 or some few rows short. Then I changed it, but it was arm warmer, so it was not a big jumper, which I worked on for 2 years or so. But still, I adjusted, I frogged it, adjusted the pattern so it's a little bit narrower, knitted it. It was still a bit too short of yarn. And again, this is the case where, oh, this yarn is not manufactured anymore, so we don't have it. It won't be, it won't be ever in the stores again. Yeah, and I tried to contact the manufacturer to see probably they have something left. They answered me like a year and a half later. I was not
looking for it.
Yeah, desperately, right? For that one little ball. Yeah, and then and then my last attempt, I tried to knit really tight.
So you went with adjusting.
Yeah, but then I ripped it up because, well, it was not working. So yeah, I was wasted. Like I did it 3 times. I had memorized the pattern. I could knit it in my sleep probably.
Who was the person trying to answer the question at the same time?
It was me.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a situation myself because I don't have that much experience with, like, especially like with bigger projects. But I still see that pretty much every day when I'm at work, because we sell yarn, and that's the most common thing, like when people come back and like, oh, I'm short, I need some more yarn, and they want the same dial number, but the number has moved on and I just don't have any to give them. But what I usually try to do is then, because we have about 20 something shops all together, then I ring other shops and I ask them like, oh, do you have this and this yarn and this specific die number? And I'm trying to help my customers. So I feel for them, you know, like my other colleagues, they don't knit, they don't really like care, like they wouldn't.
They don't get it.
Yeah, they don't get it, you know. They just like, well, just
It's white. What's the difference?
Yeah, just have another ball, plenty of there on the shelf. Just have it, you know. They don't understand this little thing. Like, you don't want that one sleeve look different, you know. you just want it all to be the same color. And yeah, that's why every time the customers, when they buy something, like when they buy yarn in bulk, you know, like the same color, I always ask them if it's enough, because if they come back and I don't have the same die number to give them, if they are like need another ball, then I might not be able to help, because if the other shops don't have any, that's it, that's the end. So I usually advise them to take an extra ball, because we are allowed to take ball back. If customers haven't used the ball, we can take them back for exchange or for a refund. But if they come back and they want some more, then that's the sometimes I'm not able to help. So yeah, that's my only experience with that, with the not having enough yarn, because I don't have any myself. I learn from my customers, so I should be clever enough to make sure it doesn't happen to me, and always buy enough.
Yeah. For
I'm
me,
usually quite sorry.
no, go for it. Go for it.
I'm usually quite careful with that, so that I buy more yarn than I need. So I always get an extra ball to be sure that I have enough, and that's probably one of the reasons why there is so many of them in the 2 boxes. But anyway, it often happens to me when I need socks, because then I try to use all these leftovers. But that's not a problem, because you can always make the tip of the sock in different color, or you can make stripes or whatever. So no big deal. But it hasn't. I'm trying to think, but I don't remember that it would have happened to me that I would have run out of yarn in a bigger project. I don't think so. Maybe I should like play yarn chicken every now and then and buy less yarn and try to make something out of it.
Living out of it. Yeah, but I have a different experience. I was knitting by the pattern. It was shawl pattern, and it needed 2 balls of yarn, and I used of the second ball literally like 5 meters.
Oh no!
Lace yarn. I was so pissed, and I kind of still am, because now I have this ball, and I know that I cannot make exactly the same shawl because I will be 10 meters short. And I haven't thought of any project for it, and it was just like, yeah, I know that probably probably this pattern needs like 60 grams, not 50.
Try returning it.
Yeah.
With the
I
thing.
don't know. I think in Latvia it's not that common, actually. Yeah. I have not checked it though, but I think it's not.
They'd be like, you bought it.
It's your fault. And the other thing I wanted to share earlier, this Monday I was ordering yarn again, so I want to mess my April's destashing thing totally with plus millions of kilograms of yarn, and I was ordering it, and I finally made my final decisions about the colors and the quantities and everything, and purchase it online. And next day they are calling me. We wanted to let you know that there's something from your order is not in the storage room right now. And then he started to list things that are not in the storage room. And I was thinking, is there something from it that's really in your storage room? Because they tell me it was a guy, and of course I assumed that he does not knit. No offense, but really.
Dangerous.
Because he said, yeah, but we have the other yellow color of the same yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like lemon yellow, and it's like sunflower yellow. And, well, why do you think I chose the one?
If you order dark beer, say we have the light beer. No?
Yeah, we have the liquid one. Yeah, but and that's again one thing that really gets me crazy. When you have an online shop that does not update how much yarn is left, because if it would have shown me that this yarn is not available, I would choose something different, and I will be done with it. And now it's just hanging in the air because he's going to call me back when he gets.
Yeah. Oops. Hello? My internet completely broke. I missed like a minute.
I believe nothing happened here.
Oh, okay.
Nothing
Yeah.
much.
It's gone into the void. Maria, how about you? Have you played Yarn Chicken? And what has been their end results?
Yeah, I have. The main thing I've had to do is just decide to do like contrast color ribbing on sleeves or something like that, because you get to a point and you're like, well, I could finish both of the sleeves if I don't do cuffs on them. So I've done things like that where I pretend that I did it on purpose, but I know I did not do it on purpose. I know I just lost at Yarn Chicken. So I have never been successful in finding something of the same dye lot. I have done that and looked online, but I have never successfully found what I needed. So I make something up.
It's really hard. I don't know how Lee managed to do that twice.
Yeah.
I had no choice.
Well,
No choice.
actually, the cardigan that Maria is now testing, the one that I made for my sister for Christmas, that was the case of yarn running out almost. Because
Really?
when we went to a knitting and stitching show in London, and she said she wanted a cardigan, and that was in December, and she told me she wanted really, really simple one, and we found this amazing yarn, and it's quite expensive, and I thought if she really just wants a simple one, it'll be fine with just 2 skeins, because she's quite tiny, and it will be okay. And then so I just bought a couple, and I thought that I could make a pattern that is going to be enough for her. And then, like, when we got home, a few days later, she says, well, can't you put some cables in there as well? I would really like some cables. And that eats up yarn like a Hoover, you know? And I prefer to knit with cables than just plain. So, of course, I think, okay. And I made some swatches, and I weighed them, and I've calculated, and I thought if I'm to make this cardigan with cables, it's going to literally go until here. It would be like a bra with sleeves than a cardigan. So, and this was from a hand dyer, that a colorway that was just specifically dyed for the festival. So there was no chance that it was anywhere else. And I went on their website and it was not there. I went on their Ravelry group, and I was basically just so devastated. I was looking for other colorways that might go with it, but I didn't want to contaminate the beautiful green. And it's also not a base that's very available on a lot of places. It's a yak and merino single, so it's really quite, I haven't seen it a lot around. It is there, but not a lot. So I was quite desperate. And then I thought, whatever, I'll just email them and ask them, just in case they might like start doing this colorway. Maybe I'll get a skein and alternate them, and it won't be so visible. Because we can wait with the project. And she said, let me have a look. I think we have one left still. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Everyone says that. And she emailed back next day and said, we do have it, so we'll just send it to you. And she sent it me in like a couple of days. I got it, and it was perfectly the same dye lot, because I think they had only made like six skeins of it in total or something like that. So I was really, really happy, and I just tell them, yeah, let me know how I can pay you. And I was already starting to knit the cardigan, And that was around Christmas time, and I emailed them again. Let me get me your invoice, because I feel like you saved my life and I need to pay you. And then they forgot again, and I understand it was like Christmas time, and they must have been busy. And then like in March again, I realized that I still haven't gotten an invoice from them. So I emailed this again and say, I realized that I haven't paid you for this yarn. She said, oh, thank you so much for reminding me. Consider that as a late Christmas present, because you've been so honest. So basically I got this yarn and I got it for free, and it was just the luckiest thing with this cardigan. I don't know how I diverged into talking about how I got yarn for free, but basically, yeah, I remember being so stressed for a few days, not knowing what I will do with these two gorgeous skeins that are not fitting the project that I want. But generally, I think I've started knitting things top down, and I will get until the sleeve separation, and then I'll knit both sleeves and the neck that I want, and then I'll just stop the body when I run out. Basically, that it helps me decide how long things should be.
Or you can also make short sleeves.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm very.
I think many people, because they don't like knitting sleeves, so they have started. I've seen so many short sleeved, not maybe cardigans, but sweaters.
Yeah.
And then you just put some other t-shirt under, and you wear it like that.
Yeah, I wonder if that trend has started because people run out of yarn, or they don't like knitting sleeves.
Mm.
Or because it's actually fashionable to walk around with short sleeve knitwear.
Mm. Mm. Well, we have the soldat crop, etc. We have those patterns that are short sleeved. So
Yeah, they're nice to knit for sure.
yeah. Yeah, because if you don't knit the sleeves two at a time, then you need one, and then there's still the other one.
Yeah, you need to come to an online knit party to get through the sleeves.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's like one of the only things that you can knit. Plain stockinette sleeves.
But didn't you have that another project where you were looking for yarn?
Me?
Yeah, it's some sort of grayish colored something. Not nutmeg. What was the name of it?
Was it a children's sweater or?
No, I believe it was not. It was probably a submission for something. And I believe you were worried about that you won't have enough for the.
Oh yeah. And that one. I adjusted the design basically because I ran out of yarn. I was meant to be a top with a big foldable collar, but in the end I just had enough for this much of neckband, and that was it. So yeah, I sacrificed the design, but at least I could add a little bit of neckband, and then and another time this was submission as well, and the magazine accepted it, and they chose the yarn for the design, and they sent it to me, and because the yarn was a little bit different than what I had worked, the yardage didn't match up to my estimates, so they sent me a little bit less than would be required. And I thought, oh, it's the first time I'm working with this magazine. I'm just gonna try and knit like a crop more shorter version to make the yarn last. And so I knitted up the shorter version, and I emailed them a picture, and I said, what would you say? I didn't have enough yarn to make like a long version. Would this be okay? Can I send this project to you, to the States? And she's like, no, it doesn't look as good as a longer would. And it wasn't a top down, it was a bottom up. So it was like I really had to rip out all the top part and then redo all the body. And they said, but it's no problem, we'll send you more yarn, you just tell us how much more you need. I was like, I wish I had asked them at the start. So yeah, I ended up having to rip it out and reknit it, and luckily I had enough time, and that's all ended well. But yeah, it was a little bit, I took the risk to adjust the design, and then I paid for it.
You didn't have to redo sleeves, right?
No, sleeves were fine.
Silver lining.
Sorry? The
silver lining.
Yeah. But it was something on like 4mm needles. So it wasn't that tragic, so to speak. It was fine. But you know, what else about yarns? We have 10 more minutes, and I wanted to ask another question, if I may. Do you have any non-yarn related hobbies that you also engage in? We had this once in our Latvian online knitting thing, and I found that a really inspiring thing to talk about, because you discover more about each other.
I do. I confess. I study, I don't know what it is in English, but I study my family's history, so that I go back like to the 1800 and 1700, and it's really, really interesting. But it's, of course, it takes a lot of time, and it competes with, you know, the yarn stuff and other stuff. So it's actually now I've put it on hold, but I would love to continue that at some point. And it's really, really interesting.
Where do you get the information?
Online, because in Finland all the you know, the priests were keeping track on people, you know, getting married and getting babies and getting killed and buried, and, you know, where the families lived. So that is being scanned, and it's online, so you can for free go and study it online. Of course, you need to first learn how to read the old script. Wow. Because they were handwritten, of course. So that's kind of hard, but there's, you know, you need to know how to go from one book to another so that you get the history of a person. But it's really, really interesting.
Wow.
To say that I was curious, I was hoping to get some interesting ancestors, you know, get to learn to know them, but my family is not really like really interesting. There is a person who got drunk and got to go to jail in the beginning of 19 something, and in the 1800 something too, but most of them were like normal, you know, country folks. Nothing special, but it's really interesting.
Wow.
It's like detective work.
So I know my mom is really into this ancestry as well, and she like paid a website to be a member, so she could just keep a tree and a record of everything that she's discovered.
Mm.
Do you know?
No, I don't do that, because if you go to MyHeritage or some other
Yeah,
website, you can find family members there, but I want to study it myself,
yeah,
so I don't want to get ready answers from anyone else.
yeah.
I just want to go to the church books and study them myself. So I don't have that online part. Maybe
you
one
just,
day,
like,
but I want to study first myself.
you draw a tree on paper?
Yeah, no, I have a program, but it's not online. It's like on my computer, so it's not on the internet.
Wow, told you it's gonna be interesting.
I'd like to hear your other hobbies, like everyone's.
Yeah, as I mentioned briefly, this is like this year's other hobby, is gardening. Yeah, we're just getting into it so much. There's this method of gardening called the square foot garden
Mm.
that originated in America in 80s. That completely destroyed my understanding of how to garden when I was a kid. We had to like weed long lines of potato, and it was hard work. And this seems like a revolutionary thing, and how come it hadn't been done before? Like almost ridiculous. So yeah, it's a lot to learn, and I find it really fascinating. Um, I'm like jumping on the windowsill to look at how far my potatoes have sprouted. No, sorry, tomatoes. And then, yeah, we're looking at ways to do compost in the garden and things like that. So it's consumed me at the moment. But I hope it will last, and we'll actually get our own lettuce and cucumber in the summer. So fingers crossed this doesn't just fade away and isn't a spare of the moment thing. Because yeah, I mean, I would have gone to the gym and I could have told you that I'm now building some muscle, but that can't be done anymore.
Mm.
I tried to go for a run yesterday. Man, I'm so unfit. It's just not funny. Yeah. So that's that. That's me. Reid, I know you have talked about your marathons.
Yeah, I don't run marathons. I have done one 6 years ago, but I run a lot. Now I was training for a marathon, but it got cancelled, so
Of course.
it won't happen. Or maybe later this year, who knows? They haven't announced anything new. So I have no idea at the moment. But then another friend gave me idea, yeah, why don't you get like new personal best for 10 kilometers instead? So now I'm training for that.
It's gonna be the rise of solitary hobbies.
Yeah, I have also been doing some gardening. So you probably will get some tomatoes and
Cucumber.
yeah, I cannot pronounce that. I was really into it the first year we moved to the house after we were living in an apartment a few years, and I really wanted to do something by myself. So I got also both of them and some like salad and dill and things like that. Like not much, but enough to make a salad. And in the end of December, I had so much cucumbers, I didn't know what to do with them. So I even learned to make a salad for the winter, like the grandma was making. I remember when I was little. So that was also good. So I was hoping for the same thing last summer, but then all my cucumbers died.
Don't scare me.
I think I had them too long time inside, and then when I took them outside to plant in the garden, when it was warm enough, so yeah, the next days they just looked dry. I don't know what happened because it was not like that the year before. So we'll see what happens this year. I just put the seeds this week because I forgot it before, as we have the chaos in our house at the moment with the remaking kitchen, and we have no kitchen, no bathroom, and no hall.
Oh,
But
good.
the first idea was only to change the kitchen, but now we don't have anything.
Wow, what a risky time.
Yeah, we are lucky that we have another like small house in our garden where we can live for a while, which is clean with no dust.
Would anyone else like to share their non-yarn hobby?
Yeah, I can share one. Well, more than one. I am singing in choirs for more like 20 years, more than 20 years now. So this is the part that I really miss at this time because, well, in Latvia we cannot be more than 2 people at one place. So all my rehearsals are cancelled and concerts and everything. It's something new for me. I haven't experienced that since I was like 8 or so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting. And another one is more of my husband's hobby, but I participated as well, is board games. That we also now play only 2 because friends don't come over. So yeah, it's a fun way to spend time.
It is for sure. We play almost every night, apart from when it's midnight. But it has come to 10 o'clock and I have to go. But it was great to see you all. And if I could ask you to put up your knitting to your face for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And yeah, I hope you had a good time. I hope this helped you forget about the bad things in the world. And I hope to see you again next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Some
you.
questions? This is homework. Or some games that we could play, like swapping yarn or whatever. Up for anything. But it's good to see your faces, and everyone seems well, and stay safe.
Yeah, you too.
Bye
You too. Bye bye.
Good night. Bye.
Bye bye. Good night. Bye bye.
bye.